Yeah, that is one tool that I learned early on. Not to think everybody's an idiot, but well, that does help. But but whenever I come across a comment that's like really bad and like really meant to get under my skin and piss me off, if I just assume it's from somebody that doesn't know better, maybe they're young, not mature enough to know how to communicate properly to a human being, or just forgot that I am a human being.
Welcome back to the show. There's no telling where we'll go. So come and share a laugh on the Imp and Skizz podcast.
I got a question for you.
Alrighty.
Have you ever danced like nobody was watching?
I don't think so. Wait. No, I don't know. Maybe?
Have you ever like had a song on and nobody's around, and so you're jamming out, but then your wife walks into the room and you're embarrassed because she caught you?
That would be
maybe singing too.
Okay, fair enough.
You have those moments where nobody's watching, so you're a little bit more yourself.
A little bit more free.
A little bit more free. That's a good word.
Yeah.
You have that, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I've had it happen too. I'd be like in my office, singing a song. The next thing you know, my wife snuck in and catches me, and I'm like all embarrassed, Why is that? I want to talk about why that is. Why is it that we worry so much about what other people think of us that we aren't ourselves? That's what I want to talk about today, and more, because obviously when it comes to what people think of you affecting the way you are is going to change your behavior, and we can talk about some of those things and what they do to our minds and things like that. But the reason this came about was because something happened. My wife showed me a video. She doesn't do TikTok, so it must have been like Instagram Reels or something, where there was a dude, he was like working out in his own little like home gym in his basement. And like he was in between sets and he was just like going to town, just dancing like crazy, singing the song. And this whole thing's being filmed by his wife, who's just kind of like up the stairs a little bit in this basement.
Not cool, man.
And she's filming. And the second he realizes she's filming, he gets super embarrassed and like chases her down to like delete the footage. You know what I mean? And that just got me thinking like, man, wouldn't it be nice to not care and just be that way all the time? Just live that free to where you don't mind dancing and singing in public because you don't care what everyone thinks of you. And then it made me realize like Skizz is kind of this way. Like he does have this about him to where he definitely seems to care less about what other people think of him than most people do. And I think I'm probably on the opposite side of the spectrum. So this is going to lead to maybe one of our first podcasts where you and I come from the same subject at very different sides of the coin.
We really do, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you labeled it perfectly. I care a lot less than normal.
Yeah, I didn't want to say you didn't care at all, because there are certain things that's like, okay, there's a difference between not caring and just being a jerk. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, but I'm more talking about the fact that you sort of just hit on it, right? I really don't care. I don't care what people think, but there has to be a certain degree of care because I'm not bulletproof. I would be embarrassed if I was singing. I don't really sing that often, but if I happen to, it's likely going to be by myself. Now I do it as a joke on stream and stuff, but in terms of really like leaning into Tool and stuff like that, I'm not going to do that ever in front of people. I don't want to do that because, I mean, one reason is I really don't want to ruin your experience of it. You know what I mean? I'm not that guy. I don't want to be that guy, but also because I don't think I sound really good. And so to that end, I am going to feel stupid. You know what I mean? Like that's what that is. I'm going to end up feeling stupid. However, if somebody were to walk in on me while I'm drumming, like on my drum pad, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm aware of how good I am. You know what I mean? There's just oh, I'm sorry. Did you see that? That's not going to happen. But if somebody, I don't think I'm dancing a whole lot, but if I was and somebody walked in and I was just in the kitchen, just like doing whatever, I'd probably be pretty embarrassed. So I got to care.
I wonder if it's hereditary, because I remember my wife and I used to go to the same gym as your son, and sometimes we would walk into the gym and your son would be in the back corner of the gym just dancing.
He still does that.
Just dancing like crazy. And he was literally dancing like nobody was watching.
Yeah.
Like there was like he didn't care. Like he didn't care if everybody in the entire place was looking at him. And my wife and I, we come in and we're like, oh my gosh, look at him go. There you go. And we look at each other like, I could never do that. You know what I mean? Because like it's that, like he was good enough that it's not gonna like be like, geez, and obviously he's decent to look at as well. He's a finely shaped human being, but like it was just still like I don't have that within me to let go to that nature that he did in there, and you're kind of the same way. And why is that? And what are we missing out on because we're holding back? Because we're worried.
A lot.
Right?
Not only that, I'll tell you this. I want to dancing in general. Okay. My wife loves to dance. She loves to dance. And if we go to like a wedding, then I'm going to need to do some dancing. And it's not lost on me that I need to get a few drinks in me because I for some reason, and I don't know what this is. Here's what I know. I know for a fact that if I go out there and I'm dancing along with everybody else, nobody's paying attention. Nobody knows. My wife, for some reason, she actually thinks I'm a very good dancer. I'm grateful that she thinks that. It must be because I'm a drummer or whatever, but she thinks I'm a very good dancer. I just feel like I must look like Hagrid out there. I'm just so massive and it's just so silly. Like I just feel so stupid. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. I can't shake it though. Mm-hmm. Where she, she's a great dancer and she like looks so natural and she's so good at it. And so it's to a point to where not only are we missing out, like others are missing out. You know what I mean? Because I don't do it as much as I should.
Yeah.
I mean, this is probably the number one thing I wish I was a much, much better husband at was taking my wife dancing. That's something that she would just want to do almost every night if we could. You know? But I never ever take her dancing because it's never ever ever something I want to do. It's actually not only that, it's something I quite specifically never want to do. You know what I mean? Unless I can really get relaxed.
And it's not because you don't enjoy dancing. It's because you're worried about people like watching you and thinking of that. Like thinking a certain way of your dancing. Like, look at this guy. He does not look good.
Yeah. However,
that is not pleasing to the eye.
That's how it feels. That's what I have to imagine. Here's the thing. Nobody's thinking that. And if there's a chance that one person is, who cares? Like I like that. That's how I actually function. So why am I so hung up on it? I think it's because I'm just aware that I think I look ridiculous. I really do think that. And on top of that, you could put on any kind of music and my wife can dance to it. I'm a bit of a snob when it comes to what music I am like that I want to dance to. Yeah. And really it's really kind of the really good hip hop type stuff. Like it has to be that type of stuff. Anything outside of that, and slow dancing is obviously an easy gig, but anything outside of like good hip hop stuff, there's certain types of dubstep I like, right? But I just don't understand like the trance music or the house music. Just what is this? Like I don't get it.
Well, I can do. Just bob the shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, my dog can do it. Like that's why I feel like inline dancing.
I thought you meant like I was thinking like full blown ballroom dancing. Like you doing the tango over there. Like
I will. I mean, her and we took some lessons in East Coast swing, and so we can do some of that stuff. So that's the quick stuff, right? And so we can kind of do that, and it's nothing like over the top good, but we're okay. We can hold our own, and it's fun, right? But for the most part, it's just.
I'm with you on that. My wife was a dancer, and she'd love to dance more, and I'm definitely the one that doesn't want to do it, doesn't want to get out there, is too afraid that I'm just going to be a fool.
Do you remember you and I, you and your wife and me and my wife, we were on a cruise together, all of us, and we actually did a dance thing. There was like the salsa or something.
Oh yeah, there was a little dance lesson thing. We did do that.
Yeah.
That was after many drinks. We had, I mean, let's call it what it is. I was going to be uncomfortable. You were going to be uncomfortable. They were not. But we knew that we were like, dude, we're not going to not do this. We're on a cruise with our amazing wives. We're going to go do this. And so we had a couple drinks in us. And I have a propensity to extinguish discomfort with humor. And that's like the first thing I did was I'm telling you, I'm psychoanalyzing myself. I know who I am, dude. I know the things that I do. And when I was uncomfortable, and the first thing I had to do was establish some sort of weird dominance. And the way I do that is making everybody laugh.
I'm going to make everybody laugh or everybody cheer or everybody whatever. And I told everybody, like they were, you know, there's all these different couples, and my wife and I were very close and very like physical with each other. And I was like, I just met her on this boat, and everybody just starts cracking up. You know what I mean? And it was like, okay, I don't know why I do that. It's just like, that's the only way I can handle myself, you know?
And we did it, you know, like stepped outside our comfort zone, got over, you know, maybe it was the drinks, but we got over like what people would think if they,
and we had fun.
Yeah. And we had fun. And then and we kept pushing a little bit. Well, I did anyway. Do you remember we did karaoke?
Yeah.
And I actually got up on stage. Yeah. I didn't say anything. And this is not like me at all to get up on stage and to karaoke. No way. I'm not even, I don't sing, which is why I chose a rap. But I decided, you know, it's time. It's time to like I said, maybe it was partly because of the drinks, but we were on a cruise ship, and I knew I'm never going to see these. Like, I don't need to worry about what these people think, because I'm never going to see them again. You know what I mean? Like, there's a good chance I will never see a single face in here ever again.
Yes.
So if I make a fool of myself, who cares?
Who cares?
And I was finally able to drop that baggage. And I didn't tell you guys, and I went and I signed up to do a karaoke song, and I got up on stage, and you guys were just like, what?
I loved it.
What is he doing? And I got up there, and I was just like, in West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spent most of my days. And I just like went off on the
opening theme song.
Yeah, the theme song to Fresh Prince of
Bel-Air,
which, you know, I knew well enough because I watched that show like crazy. So I knew well enough. I didn't even have to like read the little teleprompter thing, but I did it. I mean, I got up there, and it was probably not the best performance in the world because, you know, I'm not like a trained rapper or anything, but I got over that in that moment, and it was freeing. It was so nice. And so then I come back and I'm like, okay, so why can't I just be that way always?
Yeah.
What is stopping me from just being more outgoing? And it's like, how much of my real self do I hide from everybody?
Yeah.
Does my wife, after 25 years, know the real me? No, 20 years. 20 years? Know the real me?
It depends on your definition of the real you.
Right.
And now this is, I don't want to get too eccentric about any of this, but this is quite literally what 46 and 2 is about, is that there really is this surface version of ourselves that we share. And then there's the underneath and the hidden, and that's the shadow that's within, and that's what covers your center and yourself and your ego. And I'm butchering it, but that's what it is, right? And it's the fact that like you and I know each other. I know you probably better than anybody I know in the world, and maybe along with a handful of people, but I don't think I know the real you. You know what I mean? And when it comes down to it, I mean, you don't even really know the real you,
right?
You know, because I think that's common for a lot of people, and you have to kind of go on a journey to really catch up with yourself, because we've been spending so much time distracting ourselves from the shadow. You know what I mean? From just trying to really understand who we actually are. And the result of that is all of this turmoil and all these moments of discomfort and embarrassment, and just trying to, it's just this constant tango we're doing with ourselves, just trying to figure out what foot am I supposed to be on right now.
Yeah.
And that's just, you know, it's fine though. It's fine. It's fine. You got to be cool with it. I was on a work trip. This was years ago. I was on a work trip, and you know, I'm like you. I'm not going to really sing, but I do like some rap, and I'm a huge Eminem fan. And there's a lot of Eminem songs that I've studied, probably a little bit more than some people would or whatever. I went to the restroom. It was a work trip. It was, we had just gotten done with our big event, and then we went out to this like bar or whatever, and there was karaoke. I went to the restroom, and apparently that was a mistake, because I came back out, and the DJ was handing the mic to me, and I was apparently about to do Lose Yourself by Eminem. And I'm like, what is this now? And they're like, come on, man, we know you got this. And I'm like, okay. And so and I remember being like, I want to say, I don't want to do this. But then I was like, because I want to say that, that's why I'm going to do this, you know? So I'm just going to do it. And I guess I slayed it. You know what I mean? To the point to where other people who were in the bar were coming up to me like, dude, you killed it. Like, it was a good moment. It was, you know, so you just got to embrace those moments of discomfort and just take them on, and but we're not going to get away from the fact that sometimes we do care what people think, and some people care less than others.
And I think that if you really, really do get yourself in the space to where you're always worried about what people think, you're going to hold yourself back. You're going to miss opportunities to do things that you wouldn't actually normally do, you know, like the dancing, the karaoke, and all this stuff. And it took the right moment and the right mindset and maybe a few drinks to get there. But it's like, how many other times in our life are we like that? Do we just like not put ourselves out there, or don't enjoy life as much? Like we don't dance like no one's watching enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how comfortable are you and your wife? Do you feel like you are as close to your true self with her as you could be?
I mean, I think I'm as close to my true self. Like, I think that she is the one who knows me better than anybody. You know what I mean? Like I'm close. Like I'm more vulnerable with her than I am with anybody else on the planet. Like she's my person, you know what I mean? And so, but does she know everything about me? Like, and what my thoughts and this, I mean, probably not. I'd have to say, I'd like to believe I mean, there's been times where I've shared things with her where as I'm sharing it, I'm like, this is very embarrassing. You know what I mean? And she's also really cool during those moments or whatever. But there's got to be some things that I don't quite share. I mean, we just did a podcast about guilty pleasures. I'm thinking, are there any of those guilty pleasures that I try to hide from her? I don't think so. But there's got to. The answer is there has to be something. There has to be something.
My wife has no idea how silly I actually am.
No, you hide that from her.
Oh, I hide it from everybody. Yeah, huh. Like when no one's around, I get goofy as hell. Like I'm like the silliest person ever, and for some reason I bottle that up when I'm around other people, just because I worry so much. You've only seen like bits and pieces of it.
Give me an example.
It's usually like the stuff that you're like, save that for camera.
Yeah.
And then we turn the cameras on and I get reserved again.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just more loose, I guess, even around you more than my wife for some reason, because I don't know, maybe it's because some of your not caring as much of what other people think, kind of like I absorb it a little bit of an aura off of you when you're around. But like, I don't, my wife's caught me being silly a few times, and it's kind of like the
what's
same
an example of you being silly?
Oh, just, you know, like singing and dancing and stuff like that, you know, or just like, yeah, just being goofy, like making voices, you know, trying to make random voices and just saying random weird stuff. I remember back when I first met my wife, I was working a job where I worked in like a call center. It was like a tech desk, and I'd have to like go up and like help people with their computers. It was a call center, and I'd go, you know, they'd call like, oh, my computer's not working right. And I'd go up and I would like chat with them while I was fixing it. And I was always like super outgoing and silly around those people. But then I'd come home and be a different person. Like I would be more like way more reserved. I was like afraid to show my wife that side of me. And I remember catching myself being like, no, what happened was my wife met those people. We had some sort of like holiday get together.
Worlds collided.
And yeah, my two worlds collided. There was this world where I acted completely different than what she knew of me.
Yeah.
And they came together. And so at this like party, I was like, oh no, I don't know which me to be. And then I was like, oh, I have a problem.
Yeah.
Why do I have a dual personality here?
Yeah.
What is going on? Because it was almost like I felt comfortable in this other space. Like, I don't say being somebody I'm not. It was maybe being somebody I was like okay with letting out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
As opposed to like I was afraid if my wife saw that, she wouldn't like, I don't know, she would think I was weird, you know? And so I was like hiding it from her. And so I remember that at that point in time, I was like, I think I better chill on that because I don't want to feel like I'm living a lie, you know, because that's what it kind of felt like. I don't want you here because they're gonna find out, you're gonna see this other side of me, or I'm gonna have to hide that from them, and they're gonna be like, what happened to him? All of a sudden he's like a stiff, you know?
Yeah,
like,
no, I hear you. In fact, when I was in high school, I had like several different groups of friends, and I didn't realize it, but I did conduct myself differently in each group. It was not a conscious effort. It was the drumline group. My job was to be pretty badass and to be a little funny. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be a little funny, but to be kind of badass and you know, the leader to the best of my abilities. And then in the earlier years was just to make them want me to be their next leader. You know what I mean? As they move on and to me to fill a spot. So there was this expectation of just being very good at what we did. And then I go to my gymnastics group of friends, and my job there was to be like just purely funny and be insane because we were all crazy, like crazy mother effers, dude. Like we were just a crazy bunch. And then I had my group of friends from elementary school that I was still in this clique with, and my job there was nothing. It was just to be. And that's why it was always my favorite group, right? Because it was just to be.
Yeah.
So when those would mix, I remember I was in a rock band and we had a concert, and people from all three groups showed up, and I was the anxiety, dude. I was just like, oh my God. Like what am I supposed to do here? Like, so now here's the deal. If one of my gymnastics friends or one of my core group friends insults me in a playful way, I need to crush them because my drummers are watching. You know what I mean? And it was like this weird thing. I'm like, I think that was my moment. I was like, I think that may have been around the era where I first started to care less and less about what people thought. That may have been the beginning of it. You know what I mean? I might be off here, but I think that might have been the beginning of it, because I just was like, I don't deserve this anxiety. Nobody does.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that as humans, like, we can like shell ourselves that way.
Yeah.
Or almost like carry dual or
and without knowing,
triple personas.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. Let's talk about something that's big, because we're in the content creation space, and because we have what you can deem as art that we put out into the world, and art is always in the eye of the beholder, and there's it's easy to judge, right? Art, because it's all taste type thing, so therefore we get feedback all the time, all the time. And for me, being somebody that cares so much about the feedback that people have about me and about the things that I'm doing, it can really, really impact me from a mental health standpoint. I like to read comments. I'm addicted to reading comments. We even talked about that last week on the podcast. And what happens to me is I'm always just, oh, that was nice. That was nice to say. Thank you. Oh, what is this person? They think I'm what? They think I'm lying? What they think my episode was boring. And then all of a sudden I just am fixated on that. What did I do wrong? What do I need to do better? What do I, how do I please this person? Because I'm to a fault, and we've talked about this. I'm a people pleaser. Remember we took that Marcus Buckingham Strengths Finder, and mine was harmony.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I want to please everybody. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to like what I'm doing. I care too much about that, because you can't. As an artist, you're not going to make something that everyone is going to like. It's that same saying. What is it? You can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please.
You can please some of the people all the time, and all the people some of the time. You can never please all the people all the time.
Exactly. So that's the one. So it is that, but yet for some reason, coming across criticism and things like that, it stabs me. Like, right, it gets under the skin. It is something that just sits, and I can't get past it, because I'm fixated on what did they not like, and how could I do better that next time they'll like it?
Yeah.
And if there's one of them speaking up, there's probably more of them that didn't speak up. And I just can't get past it. And so from a content creator standpoint, I will say that is the hardest thing for me, being somebody that cares overly too much about what people think of me, and being in this space, because you are opening yourselves up to that criticism, up to that. So like, if there's anybody out there, I'm going to look right in the camera right now. If there's anybody out there that is thinking about becoming a content creator, you want to become a big YouTuber or whatever, TikTok star, if you can't handle criticism, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because it will destroy your mental health. And I'm doing my best to, obviously overcome it. You got to grow a thick skin if you're gonna do it, I guess.
Yeah.
But it still gets me from time to time. Like, there'll be times when I get done reading my comments and I just want to quit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, wow, I just got destroyed. I don't belong here. I must suck at this. I should just hang it up. And I don't think you deal with that as much as I do.
I don't. And I actually have a different position on this, on a kind of a different level. So let's see, what's the best way to go about this? I developed this disposition probably a couple decades ago, when something happened where not to get too Neil Armstrong on this, but to me, it's a pretty big step forward when the negative things that people say about you don't impact you anymore. But it is a giant leap forward when the positive things they say don't have an impact on you. Okay, now that comes back from, and this is when I started to realize that perception really is everything. And sometimes, and we have very little control about it. So back when I was about a senior in high school, I had a rock band, you know that, and the bassist for my band went to an entirely different school. I don't even recall. I couldn't even tell you what school it was, but because he lived pretty far away from the rest of us, but he was in an entirely different school. And he comes to at one of our practices. He's like, I got to tell you this story, man. And so one of his, he's at school, and one of his buddies, because he was also a senior at the time, one of his buddies was like, so you're in a rock band? And he's like, yeah, I'm the bassist. And they start talking, and he's like, what are they made up of, man? And the guy he's talking to is a drummer. And so he starts naming out who they are, and then he names me as the drummer. And he's like, he goes to this school, and the guy's like, what did you just say? And he goes to what? And he listened, and he's like, say his name again. And he says his name. And apparently, this guy he's talking to, who's a drummer at that school, was like, that dude is my idol. And my bassist is like, what? And he's like, that guy's a god. He's a god, dude. That's your drummer? Like, it was like this thing. He's like, that's your drummer in your band is, and he says my name, and he's like, yeah. And so he tells me this story, and I'm like, wow, that guy has very limited exposure to what good drumming is. Right. And here's the deal. I was categorized as #1 in the state, not on drum set. Right. You know what I mean? Like it's on snare drum. Like that's on a marching snare drum. It's vastly different. And so I was like, I mean, I've said it my whole life, when it comes to my ability on drum set, I'm fantastically average. You know, I know what good is, and I know that I'm very, very average. So he tells me that, and I realize in that moment, I'm all, wow, that was this guy. Yeah. Now people just think I'm going to be awesome wherever I go. Like that. Apparently that's this reputation that just built up like William Wallace. You know what I mean? He's apparently 11 feet tall and all this stuff. And I was just like, I am not anywhere near as good. And that was a really nice thing he said. So that's when I started to humble myself. And I would like to believe that I've carried that through. Now, what I want to be very clear on is that when I hear things about, I hear a lot of stuff online in regards to, you know, you're very good to impulse. You're a good friend. It sounds like you're a good dad and husband. And I am grateful for those things. And I'm great. And I do like to treat people well. And I do like to inspire people. I do like these things. Right. And those things feel good when they say them, but I'm not fishing for anything here. I don't buy it. You know what I mean? I do what I do, and I am me, and I don't think I'm better than anybody else. And for that reason, now, when they come at me with daggers, I got nothing for you. I don't care. You know what I mean? They come with daggers. They come out with nice stuff, and I do appreciate it, but it doesn't like swell me up. I'm at no risk of getting a big head because it doesn't swell me up. My assessment of me is my assessment of me, and I can count on, I mean, maybe one hand how many people on this planet I give two shits what they think about me. Yeah. You know what I mean? And for the record, the people who I care about what they think about me, I care a lot about what they think about me. Right? My wife is one of them. Obviously, the kids are grandfathered into that. Obviously, I want my kids, but even with my kids, like even if they thought poorly of me, I'm not going to stop loving them or doing what I need to do. Mm-hmm. But you're obviously on that list, and there's just a handful of other people. Like, it's not a lot of people. It's a very small list. And when people make that list, it's not written in stone. I've had people on that list and they've been removed. You know what I mean? And it's like this. I mean, this sounds very arrogant, but that's what it is. There's been people who have been on that list where I do care what they think. You know what I mean? And then there's something started to turn in the dynamic in the friendship, and it got to a point to where I would say to them, you have to tread cautiously. I'm very close to not giving a shit what you think about me. I'm very close to where I don't care what you think. You know what I mean? Now that sounds really, I mean, that all high and mighty. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just being informational. And sure enough, it got to a point to where I was like, okay, no ill will. We're just all wrapped up here. You know, that's all that was. Yeah. You know, and that's just the way it is. That's how I conduct myself. And that's probably why out of 100 comments, I don't read all 100. I'm getting better, but you read every one, and you don't read comments, dude. You wrap yourself in them. You're consumed by them.
Yep. Yeah, and it's easy to skip the good ones and focus on the tough ones. But I think you brought up a good point there, is because like, okay, so you've got a very small list of people that you care if they care what they think of you, right?
Yeah.
That list is tailored based off of how much they know you, right? And how much respect you have for their opinion.
Yep.
Right. Now, if we're talking about all these things, like we're talking about comments, right? The viewers, and it feels weird to talk about the viewers that are watching us right now this way. But to be honest, y'all don't know us. Y'all don't know us. And we literally just talked about not even knowing ourselves, right? So don't feel bad. But
don't feel bad.
Yeah, but it is definitely a parasocial thing, right? Because you're not all privy of every aspect of our lives. You're only privy of what's on camera.
Yeah.
Right. There are a lot of things going on outside the, in our normal lives and off camera and things like that could come into effect in the way that we conduct ourselves and things we say. And without having that full breadth of knowledge about where we're coming from with things, it's easy to poke at things you don't really fully understand, right? And so therefore, we shouldn't get so latched to maybe an opinion that you formed based off of what you've seen on whatever platform you've seen it on. So, like, I think that's something important to keep in mind, is because if you look at why did you let those people in, it's because they're very familiar with you, and you're familiar with them enough to know that you can trust the way they think and their input into what you're doing. So you've allowed them to have that input and have it affect you. Where, like, to allow that to everyone that could potentially voice anything about us that they want to, it definitely is going to make it a lot harder if you care so much. Like
that's why it's so hard for you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's why it's so hard. And think about this, man. You talked about that Marcus Buckingham test that we took, and your number one was harmony?
Harmony.
Okay. So really think about what I'm saying here. So my number one was communication. And that's real. I know how to communicate. I know what people need to hear. I can teach things very well. I can actually, and I've done this a million times. I will listen to two different people having a conversation, and I know where the disconnect is. I know what it is. And I'll just watch because it's fun. And I'm watching them try to work out the conversation. I'm like, stop. You think he's talking about this. You think he's talking about this. And they're all, oh, no, I thought you were okay. And because that's my thing. That's my thing, is communication, right? Yours is harmony. Yours is not real. Yours, quite literally, your number one strength is seeking something that is impossible to seek.
Right.
You want to please everybody all of the time. That's your definition of harmony.
Yep.
It doesn't exist. It's why you're in constant turmoil.
Exactly.
Right? So your number one thing, you don't even get to see what it's like. You just know you want something that
there's
doesn't
no
exist.
Getting there.
Yes, exactly. There's no getting there. You're not going to get there, man.
That's pretty rough, right?
Yeah. So.
I wake up, I'm like, am I ever going to be happy? Oh no, I'm screwed.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
My second on that list, since we're talking about it, the Strengths Finder thing by Marcus Buckingham. I don't know how many people buy into it all, but I thought it was really well done. I thought it was good, and I thought it was insightful. That was decades ago now that we did that. My second one, learning, makes sense.
That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's achievable. I can learn stuff. But like, it makes sense when we talk about like how I geek out about gear, and I geek out about learning new things like editing and Photoshop and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like learning stuff in Minecraft or learning Redstone, you name it. Like, I've always just really liked to soak it up. So I do feel like that one definitely hit the mark when it came to that. I don't remember past that what I tested, because I think they gave us like the top 3.
I can tell you, I thought they gave us top 5, but I can only think of 2 others. Mine was, I think my number 2 was leadership, I think. And I think number 3 was activator. And activator is about pulling triggers, right? There's nothing I hate more than analysis paralysis, right?
You're a ready, fire, aim, type.
I am. Yeah, that's right. That's what I really correct. And that's the thing, because I worked with so many people that were just aim, ready, steady, aim, hold, steady, just pull the trigger.
Yeah, failure to launch in most cases.
I'll just pull the trigger and go like, where'd that bullet hit?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because that's how I get.
Where did that hit? Okay, we'll adjust a little bit.
Exactly.
Oh, did that kill somebody?
No, but I'm not to that level.
Ah, dang it. But, next.
Yeah. Well, I'll pull the trigger. It's move the gun. This bullseye. We got a bullseye. It took 3 seconds. Yeah, but you put a hole in the wall. Well, patch the hole. Like that's how I work. You know what I mean? Like that's how I function. And so because of that, that's why that's why I probably ended up in a job as an event manager, because of my communications, my leadership, my activator. Like it was all those things, but I think that a lot of that also stems from, I don't want to say I don't care what people think. I say it all the time, but even I know that that's not an absolute.
Right.
Even the people who aren't in my inner circle, whatever I want to refer to it as, it has to be. Like I have to care a little bit about.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're doing something that, let's say you're surrounded by 20 people and you're in the middle of this circle and you're doing something and all 20 people are disgusted by it, then do you care?
Let me think. Let's talk this through. Let's say I'm in a room full of 20 people. All of us we're all dressed nice. I don't know any of these people. They're strangers. I couldn't even possibly care less about what any of them think. Mm-hmm. In fact, let's go as far as this. Let's do this. Let's dance, Impulse.
Okay.
I am never going to see them again. And I know I'm not.
Okay.
And I just start shitting my pants. Right? Am I going to be embarrassed? I mean, probably. But why? I'm never going to see these people again. Like, why do I care? I'm a little afraid. I might not care. I might not care. I don't know. I might be like, I'm taking a shit. Sorry, but you know what I mean? I have no idea.
Sorry, I just did the hot wings challenge with my friends.
It's happening.
I had no warning.
The bathroom's all the way over there. I don't know. No,
I like how you immediately went to shitting your pants. Okay.
Well, I'm just trying to pick an extreme scenario.
Like when I said all 20 people were disgusted, you're like, what would do that? Oh, I think shitting my pants would do that. Okay. Yeah.
I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it doesn't have to be that bad, but I mean, I guess I could see the disgust on their face, but I don't think that. I mean, here's what would happen. Okay, and this is I would be able to. And I don't think that this is a super skill. I think anybody would be able to pick up on the fact that these people are disgusted with me. All of these people wish that I was not here. These are things that should hurt you. Mm-hmm. I could be way wrong here, dude, but I still think it'd be like, I don't really care.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So,
but here's why. But hold on. Let me double down on that. The reason is because I'm assuming it was an accident. I'm assuming that it was an accident. It was uncontrolled. That's my assumption. If I was actively treating people poorly and I was like, I don't care what they think. That's different.
That's where the line is. Like, because a lot of people will think that way, right? Oh, you don't care what other people think, so you're just going to be a jerk and not care that they think you're a jerk. No. They're not saying like you're not doing that. You're not going that far. Yeah, because you still treat people like humans, and that's a difference.
Yeah, but not just for the sake of doing it. It's because I would be judging. I would be disgusted with myself if I treated them poorly. It wouldn't bother me that they thought low of me. I would think very low of me.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what that all stems from. Is that I do feel centered with who I am, and I want to do my best to bring good things to people. That's what I want to do. I never want to cause discomfort. I want to seek out opportunity to bring people peace. That girl almost killed me at that intersection. She almost killed me by running that red light. I mean, we were seconds away from that likely killing me, dude. And she was beside herself. And I made it my everything just to calm her down and remind her that, hey, we're here. It's fine. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I would look for an opportunity to bring her peace in that moment. Because that's how I want to conduct myself. If I got out of the car and just started berating this 25-year-old girl, just went off on her, like, what's the matter with you? The light was obviously red, like, and just made it worse for her, that would have haunted me.
Right.
And
her.
Yeah. Well, of course, and her.
Yeah. So let me do this. Okay. So obviously, since we're on two separate sides of this coin, you don't care so much about what people think of you, and I care overly. I got a feeling that most people watching and listening would probably rather be on your side of the coin than mine.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have any tips for people. So instead, let's do this. Let's pick your brain a little bit more about what we could do to be more like you in this case, because I think more people would gravitate to wanting to do that, right? So let me ask you this question: When was the last time you were actually like embarrassed about anything? Do you get embarrassed if you don't care about what other people think of you? Does that mean you never get embarrassed?
I'm sure I've been embarrassed. I'm sure I have. I can't
because that's what getting embarrassed is you did something you're embarrassed about only because other people like saw it and may think a certain way.
Yeah.
Right.
I experience a lot more secondhand embarrassment. Like I do feel that when I see somebody go through something like publicly that is what can be categorized as legitimately humiliating, and I'm there to watch it. You feel that secondhand embarrassment. You know what I'm talking about. I do feel that, and I think that stems from me wanting people to be well. You know what I mean? So I think that's what that is. But in terms of me doing something, I mean, there has to be. The answer has to be yes. I can't. As we're talking, if something comes up, I feel like there's actually an obvious answer, and I'm like almost repressing it. Right? I don't.
Or maybe it's something you're so embarrassed that you don't want to tell everybody on the podcast about.
No, I know that was no. That's maybe. But I don't. I don't know. Like I'm trying to think.
So it's difficult to become embarrassed. So that was one of the things that was hardest for me in being on camera so much. Like I've been streaming way more these days than ever before. And streaming's an interesting beast because it's unedited, it's raw, it's live. Whatever happens. And it's the internet, which means it's forever. Yeah. So, you've seen people say stuff and get canceled over it. You've seen everything at this point. Right. And being on stream live and like having to talk so much. I mean, you think about it, like, on radio, if there's like 2 seconds of silence, it's awkward. We feel that same way sometimes on stream, not as much because we do have video backing, but we do feel constantly like we have to continue talking. Even right now, I feel like I have to keep talking, right? We don't want dead air. It's weird. So when words are constantly flowing out of your mouth, your brain doesn't always have a chance to like do its checks and balances. Yeah. Should I say that? Should I not say that? You know what I mean? And I've found myself in many occasions saying things that I was like, "Ooh, that was stupid. I just look stupid. I just said something stupid." All right, we'll pull this tool out of the toolkit. I got streamer brain. Streamer brain. I'm dumb. I'm not thinking straight. I got too many things going on. I can't. And there is like, it used to be I would get embarrassed. Like you could literally see the red on the face and get embarrassed when those moments happen. But over time of it just me being dumb over and over again in front of everybody, I kind of got numb to it to where now I can kind of laugh it off. So there is a way, I believe, to make a transition from like caring so much to, getting to where you're at. I think it's definitely a moving scale that we can move along and then we can work towards. But I had to like just get over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to say stupid stuff and people are going to think I'm stupid. But I can't not be stupid if I'm talking 40 hours a week live in front of people. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like. So, yeah, I think it's just one of those things like you kind of just get used to it. Like I said, almost numb to that.
Right.
So I don't get as self-conscious anymore, embarrassed about me like doing and saying stupid stuff on stream.
That's good. Well, so I guess my tips would be for anybody who wants, because I kind of want to challenge something you said earlier, that you said if you don't have a thick skin, don't do it. You basically told a bunch of people who are thinking about maybe doing content creation, if you don't have a thick skin, don't do it. I disagree with that like wholeheartedly. If you want to do content creation and you don't have a thick skin, work on that.
Yeah.
You got that. Like,
but realize what I'm really worried about is starting off if you don't have it.
Be prepared. You got to be prepared.
Because it really can drive people into like a really bad
Yes,
space.
it can.
If they're not ready for it.
You got to be
ready. And so
ready
it was more of a warning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, how about that? That's fair. I would say this. I would say that if you care about what people think of you on a colossal level to where you're living already in a constant state of anxiety, maybe work on that before you hit record.
Yeah.
Right. But if it's something that like you're like most people and you are affected by what people think about you, just be aware that this is something that you're going to need to work on, actively work on.
Yeah. The internet's, I mean, even if it's not content creation, if it's not streaming, like the internet can be a dangerous place. You know, bullying, cyberbullying happens.
It can be so beautiful and so toxic.
Exactly. So like if you are, not able to, maybe you're already like you said, you have that like self-doubt about yourself, and then like you gravitate towards people feeding that self-negativity.
Yeah.
That when you're online and you see these comments that maybe you already were like beating yourself up over, and then somebody just validated it in your mind by saying the same negative thing that you were already saying to yourself, that can really drag you down into a dark space. And so like, I don't know, my oldest daughter wanted to stream. She wanted to become a streamer. She wanted to, and I was thinking about letting her do it. I was going to get her the equipment and stuff and teach her the ropes and teach her how to do OBS. And I realized, you know what? I don't think she's self-confident enough that if she did this and she gets a couple negative comments, I think it's going to go real south. And either one, I'm going to have to be there every minute she streams to be her guardian, right? Or two, just maybe not let her do it until I feel like she's got that self-confidence to put up with that. And that's what I ended up doing.
Yeah.
We put a hold on it and said, let's work on making sure you're mentally ready for this, because you could end up getting beat down, and I don't want to see that,
In that particular case, I think you did the right thing. In that particular case, I think that was the right choice.
Yeah.
And that's why I would say, I think if it was the first Matrix, boy, please, Skizz, don't butcher this. I believe the Oracle points up to like some sort of thing on the wall of the kitchen and says, do you know what that says? And he doesn't. And she says, it says, know thyself. Right. And I guess, I feel I'm feeling the pull once again to say, these are just my thoughts. I'm not a doctor. I have no business talking about this. I'm just my thoughts. But if you want to move into a space to where what people think about you means less and less, except for a select few people, you need to know yourself. You need to know who you are. Know who you are. Stop trying to understand the version of you that you think everybody else wants to see. Boy, my God, what a waste of time. Don't be that person. Know who you are. Really close your eyes and think about what you have to offer this world and what it is that you want. And then start moving forward and when you do that, when you're very confident in regards to the value that you bring, then when people come at you, it's just going to start to bounce off a little bit more, a little bit more, right? Like it's not a surefire way to do this. I understand that. It's not like I haven't read a negative comment in the past that got to me. I mean, I'm not bulletproof. It's happened, right? For the most part, like 99% success rate, I don't care. But if there's a comment that's pretty bad and it just happens to already be in line with one of the doubts I already have, boy, that does it.
Those are the triggers.
Yeah, that one gets
for
through.
Sure.
Yeah. And I don't feed the troll. I've never responded back. And I'd like to believe I never, ever will. I mean, quite literally, I never, ever have. And I hope I never do. But I know I'm not bulletproof, but I know I'm damn close. And that comes from knowing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be making some kind of content rather. Not really sure what it is. I'm supposed to be making some kind of content. I got a tattoo about it. And I am supposed to make people feel good about themselves because I have that gift. I have the ability to do it without BSing them. And I'm supposed to make them laugh in the process. Like that, I'm supposed to do all those things. I mean, it took me a lot of years to get that sorted and that's what it is. But that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I know that. I don't care if anybody else does. I know it. Yeah. And I can promise you, all you people out there in the ether, I know myself a little bit better than you do. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what we're saying. It's like nobody really gets to know, like even ourselves, get to know the full real us, and especially what we put on camera is definitely just a slice of everything. Now, I would say with you in particular, you definitely have a style to your content to where it's more divisive than content creators like myself who play a little safe, right? To where you get a lot of love and you get a lot of hate, and you're able to kind of like be okay with both, right? Where it's very, very big ends of the spectrum from what I see. Like people are either like, the second Skizz comes into a video, they're clicking off because they hate you that much for whatever reason, because they're idiots.
No, they're not. No, they're not. I want to be very clear about that. They are that is absolutely fine. If they hear my voice and it's like nails on a chalkboard to them, or they don't like my style, they don't like my editing, they don't like my collaboration. Dude, I 1,000,000,000% support the fact that they don't like it. That is 100%.
Doesn't it make you feel better if you call them idiots, though?
No, it doesn't. I will say this, though. If they feel compelled to come at me and tell me how much they think I suck, well, now you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Now you're an idiot.
Yeah, that is one tool that I learned early on. Not to think everybody's an idiot, but well, that does help. But but whenever I come across a comment that's like really bad and like really meant to get under my skin and piss me off, if I just assume it's from somebody that doesn't know better, maybe they're young, not mature enough to know how to communicate properly to a human being, or just forgot that I am a human being, because I feel like that happens too, and I can just be like, yeah, they're 9 years old, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? And that's an easier way to like dismiss some of that stuff before it can like really get to you. But yeah, I mean, that is a tool. I'm not necessarily calling them an idiot, but you kind of put it in that frame of like they're just not mature enough to communicate properly. Yeah. You know.
I have no qualms on people not liking what I put out there. I have no qualms on it. They're absolutely allowed to do that. When they want to come at me and cause some sort of contention, that's a very big waste of time. I'm not going to respond ever. I'm not going to do it. I'm never going to respond because I'm not going to feed the troll. And I just, I got to tell you, at the very core of me, there's a great degree of pity, because what an exhausting life that must be. You know what I mean? To be so consumed and trying to tear others down. We've briefly talked about this before, right? In fact, this was probably our second podcast, where there are people that try to climb up to be in a better space. And then there's people who don't have the confidence or will to do it. So they try to pull everybody else back down to their level.
Right.
Those are two totally different things. And I have no time for the latter. And if you're out there and you want to, it doesn't have to be content creation. If you want to go do something and you're supposed to be doing it, and maybe it calls for a thick skin, just be at peace with the fact that might be something you need to work on in the process.
Yeah.
Know thyself, be very confident with whom you are and what you're supposed to be doing. Know it. Like really, really know it. And then all of a sudden people come at you and it just means nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the important part, is like, if people are coming at you with that, like try to like use those tools that we've been talking about to let it just kind of fly over you. Like you said, there are some things, if we have like a little bit of nugget of self-doubt already, and they attack that specific thing that we already were kind of beating ourselves up about, that's when it gets under the skin. And it's definitely hard not to think about it, not to stew on it. But then again, it's like, we're all humans. Like I said, like a lot of people, I feel like, forget that we're humans, and they just feel like it's the internet. And gosh, there's so many times where somebody will comment something super negative, and I'm not as good about not replying as you are. And I'll reply something like, oh, tell me why you think that, or whatever, because I'm always curious. I always want to know, like, I want to know, is there something, I can do better or whatever. Tell me more about why you hate me. And a lot of the responses are, oh my gosh, I thought you would never see this. I'm so embarrassed that I wrote it in the first place. And it's like, well, why'd you do it then? You know what I mean? Like why'd you write something so nasty in the first place, assuming I wasn't going to see it? What was your point? And so it gets weird.
Yeah, but I want to challenge you a little bit, because, and this is going to be a little unfair, but I think we both agree, I know you pretty well. And when you are responding to somebody who's saying something very, I mean, if they're giving, there's a difference between constructive criticism and being nasty, right? So if they're being nasty and doing something nasty and you follow up with them, you're not curious. You're not trying to figure out why do they feel this way so that you can reverse something about your behavior. You're trying to engage them so you can reverse the shitty feeling that you have that they gave you. You're trying to get them to do either what they just did, which was say, oh, I'm so sorry, now I'm embarrassed, or get them to change their mind and say to you, dude, I was completely wrong, or I was thinking of something different or whatever. Yeah. That's what you're doing. You now, if it's constructive criticism and you follow up, you're genuinely curious at that time.
Yeah, and there's been a bit of both. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, but when they're nasty and you engage them, you're not curious, you're pissed. That's what that is. And you need to know that, because when you like, that's a chink in your armor, bro. Like big time. They are affecting how you feel about yourself in a bad way. And I want to be very clear.
Most of the time it's because they hit some sort of nerve, like a pet peeve of mine. You know? Like there's been some of those. It's like, oh, you called me a liar? What?
Look at you. You're trying to call him out right now on this podcast. That's fine. Yeah. I'm not going to, I can't, boy, I really am coming off like I have all the answers, and I absolutely do not. I'm the furthest thing from it. But I'm just saying, like, the reason your take is unsettling with me is because if you have the capacity to care about what the terrible things they're saying, how are you ignoring the hundreds of thousands of overwhelmingly positive things?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I want everybody to know out there, I do read a lot of the nice things that you say. I really, really do. And I don't want you to think that it means nothing to me. That's not the case, but it just doesn't, like, it doesn't swell me up. I will admit I've had to use it when that one negative comment sneaks its way through, that because it's right in line with the doubt I already have and it tears me down. Then I go to all the wonderful things that a lot of these people say
and try to balance it out a little bit.
It's a bottomless sea of positive stuff, and they build me up like this.
Yeah.
But for the most part, when I'm already neutral, it's a very nice thing to see these things. But it's nice because it's sort of reassuring. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. These people are having good feelings. They were loud. They couldn't stop laughing at this scene that I was very deliberate in how I directed this scene, you know, and I really wanted to be this certain way. Like, so there's just, I don't know. I want to just keep getting better and better. And I want my list of the people who I care about what they think about me to remain small. And that's just, I think that's my opinion, that's the healthiest way to live.
Yeah. I agree. That's why we wanted to talk about it today.
Yeah.
Because I think that a lot of people listening will probably be more like me, to where they care too much. And it's good to hear. It's good to get advice from somebody that has gotten to where you are. And because I think it is a much healthier way to live, because like I will get stressed. I will get a dark cloud around me and just mad and whatever. And for what reason?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For what reason? For the majority, I'm doing great things and making people entertained and hopefully smile and all that kind of stuff. So why do I care about this little bit of negativity that sneaks through?
Yeah.
You know? So hopefully there's some nuggets to be taken from this discussion. You know, I definitely will maybe stop feeding the trolls so much. Well, I go through my like learnings of this, like, and it happens like over and over again, where I'll go a full year not feeding the trolls, and then all of a sudden one will get to me, and it's off to the races for a little bit until I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta stop that, and then I go back.
And that might be catching you at the perfect time.
Exactly. That's what I said. Like, there's so much stuff that happens off camera. Like we could be dealing with some major life events that are just like really, really bad, and all of a sudden I'm on camera and reading all this other negativity, and it just like starts to feed negativity into negativity, and so therefore it's like hard to hide it.
Yeah. You know? I'll leave you with one more trick that I'm telling you, I'm going over in my mind. Do I really want to share that I do this? Because it's going to make you think I'm a crazy person that I do this. It's going to make you think I'm an actual crazy person, but I'm not. I don't think I'm a little crazy. But if one of these comments comes through, or somebody does something that's awful, and it makes you feel that cloud you're talking about, I don't think you're feeling a fog in your head. I don't think you're feeling like a lot of sweating. I think you're feeling like something burning in the core of your chest. Like it's like to me, that's where anxiety builds up, is like in my chest. Like when I'm feeling terrible about something, right? And you feel it here. And what I do, and this is the part you're going to think I'm absolutely insane. I see this and this horrible energy, or those horrible thoughts that are in the core of my chest. I can see them as like this orb of energy, like literally like this, almost like a glowing red and black kind of ball or whatever of nastiness. And I take a deep breath, and as I exhale, I feel it coming out of my chest into the palm of my hand. I swear I'm not crazy, but this is what I do. I feel it come into the palm of my hand, and I'm holding this nastiness, this goo, this tar, this whatever this person tried to send my way. I'm holding it, and I literally will throw it away in the garbage can or just out the window or whatever I want to do. And as I do that, I can see it with my own mind's eye. I'm not a crazy person, but I can see it go into the garbage. I can see it go out the car window. I can actually see it. And I say, I back to your regularly scheduled programming. You know what I mean? And I get back to what I'm here to do.
Nice.
And it's like such a weird thing to do and say. And I want to be very honest here. There's things in my life that have been, so bad or dark, whatever, that I do that, and it works, man, for a couple months, and it starts to kind of regrow like a tumor. You know what I mean? I need to think about it, and I need to kind of go through my thing and understand who I am. And even I am like, I get to edit these, and part of me wants to edit out everything I just said, because it really makes me look crazy. But it's a tactic I came up with, and it works.
Hey,
for me.
if it works for you, it works for you.
Works for me.
And maybe there'll be somebody out there that it works for them too if they give it a go.
Yeah,
I might try that too. Just see what happens.
Yeah, just give it a go. But you have to fully commit to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
back to your regularly scheduled programming. Back to making videos. Back to doing what Impulse does. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we've
it's a good one, man.
We got to where we wanted to get to on this one. I mean,
like it.
We definitely are in different places. And I thought this would be a good one because I think a lot of times like we'll talk about stuff, and then just because we've been friends for so long that we know each other so well, we agree on a lot of things. But there are a lot of things that we don't agree on, and we haven't done enough of like, hey, let's actually hear two different sides of something for once.
Yeah.
Right.
That was fun.
So, it's definitely interesting. But I do think more people would definitely want to be on your side of that fence. Yeah. Maybe there'll be future ones where they'll be on my side, but we'll see.
It could. Yeah. Because just to leave you with this, honestly, caring what people think, that's not an innately bad thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I think I'm making it sound like. I don't actually believe that that's just always a bad thing. It's just, I've learned.
It can be if you get to the point to where it affects you negatively.
Yes,
yeah,
dude.
That's the line.
Yeah.
That's the line. You're allowed to care about what people think, but if it's affecting your mental health in a negative way, then maybe you got to check it out.
Yeah. I can dig it.
There you go. Okay. Well, that's the message.
All right.
That seems like a good time to wrap up. Another good one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Wait.
Oh, I forgot to change the clock. Sorry.
Now we have to start all over.
Sorry. We'll re-record this. Hold on. No. See you guys later.
See you guys.